you know what? Yeah, let's fucking record a podcast every week. Let's do that. Let's put ourselves to that test. And I have had to learn more about social media than I ever wanted to. I do not want my face on the internet. I don't want to be perceived. I don't want to be seen. And now I'm just like full send, record, send. We're not even going to run that one back. We're not even going to edit that one. We're just going to put it out there because what?
Why not?
Why not?
I'm the worst, is that my bar is right here. And then when I get right here, I raise it so that I'm farther away. And then I get close and then I raise it. So I'm never reaching whatever point I want to get because I'm constantly getting it. I don't allow myself to do that. And so
Mhm.
having other people be like, okay, Cassie, look at how much you actually have done, or like the growth that I've done.
I think, that's the whole point of this topic today, is that you're releasing that, and that you might be losing something. You might be letting something finally go to rest. You might be walking into a whole new identity and you don't even know what that identity starts with. But instead of looking at it as a loss, we're looking at it as, what are we to gain?
3 women, 3 paths, 1 mission. To prove that your story is not your limitation, to guide you towards your muchness, to explore the unfiltered truths, and to challenge every bit of belief that built your mask. This is Go Be Too Much, the unapologetic space for the bold, the healing, and the unfinished, where we decide what's too much was always meant for more. So let's chat. Maybe we'll fuck around and find out just how unmissable we all are.
Welcome to the Go Be Too Much podcast, where currently all of your Go Be Too Much hosts are tired of doing the absolute most and wanting to be horizontal, because I believe this episode will air the week after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Why is the week leading up to Christmas the most insane week? Like, why do we have to have the Christmas program at school? Why do we have to do the last minute shopping? And I got to clean the house, and everybody's in town and everybody wants to meet up because they're in town for 3 days. And then you've got to do, I'm like, I don't even have kids. I don't even know how you guys are existing with children in your home, because I left my dog at her boyfriend's house so I could have some time alone to clean without little paw prints following me. Jesus.
No,
Go ahead,
I
Cassie.
think Kobe needs a boyfriend, apparently.
It's been lovely. It's great.
Yeah, she's going to doggy daycare this weekend, so she'll have all of the friends possible for like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. And it's even crazier, I think, because like, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves to do whatever? Like, honestly, I heard this at my ass kicker event, and it was talking about how we put something into I'm gonna use one of you as an example. I'm gonna say Mandy is coming over and she expects this, this, and this. And so I'm projecting that onto you. But really, Mandy don't give a shit. And and then it's a reflection back on what I'm thinking. And it's like, why do we put so much pressure on Christmas? Like, at the end of the day, like, I tell D, I was like, it's, about quality time with family, just being grateful for all that we have and that we're good humans. And yeah, don't get me wrong, your kids' gifts are awesome. But it's like, why do we put so much pressure on ourselves? Like, what's the perfect gift? Did I get her enough gifts? Really, what is the right amount of gifts, And so we all put this pressure on ourselves for no fucking reason, but yet we won't stop.
I'm thinking about that I wrapped presents yesterday to send out to people. I still have all the presents to wrap for those that live in this home to open, but I got the presents wrapped to mail, and I'm like, and not one of you care if you get those before Christmas or after Christmas. But
you gotta have it. You're like, no.
For me is get it done, get it out. They're not going to make it by Christmas, and it's like, who cares?
It's funny you say that, because last year I got my mom and dad those picture frames, those digital picture frames that you download the app, and then all of us kids can send it. So it's kind of like we're there with them, whatever. So I got them that for Christmas. I did not send them out for Christmas. So instead, when I went and visited my mom, I gave it to her for her birthday. I gave my dad his for Father's Day. If I don't mail it out, I'm sorry. I'm the worst. I need an Amazon cart that goes directly to your house. Because if I order it and send it here, it ain't going.
That's literally, because I had something for you guys. I'm like, can I get this on Amazon? Can I just send it directly to them? Like, I would love it to come here and be extra because that is who I am as a person, like do all that. But then you have to put it in another box and then you have to drive it to another location and you have to hope that you have the correct address and you have to hope that they're not going to ask you 11,000 questions and like not let your mail go through. And then you have to track
While the
it.
packages are sitting on my kitchen counter.
See, it's a thing.
We got a body double for each other because like I could do it for you guys all day, every day. Like I would come in your house, I would do all of your shit. I would love to do your shit. I don't want to touch mine. I don't want to do anything that's mine or related to me.
Nope, no. And then there's no reason that there's for the pressure. There's just our own thought of that we have to get it done by said time, that it needs to be done said way. And
Because what? That's how it's always happened. That's how we always do it. That's what the expectation
Mhm.
is. And like I won't say I have no like Christmas holiday traditions, but I struggle with that question when people are like, what are you doing for the holidays? And I'm like, the absolute least possible. Christmas is when everyone is busy and they have no expectations of me. Like I stay here alone and people are like, oh, you should come over. You should absolutely not. Absolutely not. That
I'm good
is
right where I'm at.
2 days. There's 2 days where I just get to be in the house and nobody needs anything. Nobody wants anything because they're all so busy just like surviving in their own life. And I am blissfully over here doing whatever I want with Bug, and she's judging me for sleeping and not moving enough. But like, that is my Christmas tradition. That is when I get to be still and reflect or not, whatever the day chooses. But I used to make fun of my exes that would come over to our holiday gatherings and be so overwhelmed because of how loud and chaotic and how many people there were. There was just no organization. And I don't think I'd ever admit it to them, but like I get it. I get it now,
Nowadays,
especially
you're
with
like, "That makes sense. That fits."
especially with any amount of like kids because kids are excited. Kids are jazzed up and
yeah,
we
we
we do
Oh,
the
lost you.
man.
things for them. Great. Cool. Am I back yet? No.
Yeah,
You're
you're
back.
back.
Okay. Rude. All right, I'll stop talking shit about Christmas.
That was your sign for you to be like, "Nah, I'm good."
Uh,
But
That's a lot. Admire you guys.
that leads into when I was talking about, again, at Ass Kicker, they brought up this story, and it was of a guy who came to a river, and it was a roaring river. And he's like, how the heck do I get across this thing? He's like, I should build a boat. So this guy builds a boat. He gets across the roaring river, and now he needs to walk. But instead of leaving the boat behind, he drags the boat. So he's dragging this boat across the field, which is fairly easy, right? There's not a lot of hiccups. And then he gets to a jungle. And he's like, crap, how the heck am I going to pull this boat through this jungle? So he's trying, and it is just holding him back. Like it's just causing so much resistance. And eventually he's like, well, maybe I need to let go of this boat so I can get through the forest. And the point of it is just because something worked for you in one situation doesn't mean that it's going to work in another. And I think I was like, wow, I was like, what an analogy. But why is it that well, this is the way it's always been done. Like we were just talking about. We're like, this is how it is. But how do we allow ourselves to be okay and shed those things
Mhm.
so we can grow? Like what do we have to tell ourselves to be okay? I feel like that's like one of the things I've been trying to figure out this whole entire year is being okay with losing things, whether that's people, whether that's environments, whether that is clothes, whatever it is,
Mhm.
like what attachment do we have to things and how can we make it so it's okay to let go?
Not as not deep at all. But it's funny that you had this epiphany, this moment and reflection at this really great event with your employer. And it's happening in my house in very different ways of like the millennial bag of bags, the millennial box of really nice boxes. Like, why the fuck do we all have somewhere in our house that is a bigger bag full of smaller bags because those are really nice bags and I might use those. I need those later, whether it's a Target bag and I need it for the trash can or it's gift bags and that's a really nice bag that I want to reuse. with the fucking boxes because that's a really nice box. And I'm going to keep that because I might need it later. And I hit a point recently where that shit was driving me nuts and I threw all of them away. I recycled all the bags. I recycled all the boxes, threw away things. And now I'm like trying to wrap the 3 presents that I bought for people. And I have no fucking boxes to put them in and I have no bags. And then it reinforces in my brain, see, you're supposed to keep those things. See, you tried to get rid of it, but it caused me to get creative. It caused me to get creative because I refused to buy a box to wrap anything in. That's not happening. And I was like, what can I get rid of in my house? So I literally walked around and looked for vessels that I could like create cute little baskets and little moments in. And I literally regifted people's stuff in that. And now that's 4 things leaving my house because I
Got rid of the
refuse.
clutter.
Yes, I refuse to keep the clutter. I refuse to let that mindset win because I don't need the boxes. I don't need the bags. I don't need whatever it is because I don't want that mental load. I don't want that physical load. I don't want it in my house. So 2 very different ways to get to that. I think it's happening a little bit in everyone's life right now.
Well, I think this time of year, a lot of people find that they're releasing stuff because we're going into the new year. And so everybody has their goals to which, we'd rather set intentions versus resolutions. And for those who follow astrology, this was the year of the snake. So it's shedding, and we're going into the year of the horse, which is action and take charge. But we can't do that if we're hanging on to all this stuff that's dragging us behind. So trying to figure out how do we regulate ourselves to know that it's okay to not have all the boxes, to know that we don't need to keep all the bags, right?
Mhm.
And being
'Cause
able to like that, find the new way. Even if your new way was to go buy a new box, like that's okay. Like it's no different. You talking about boxes, I'm thinking about my mother and Ziploc baggies and how
Mhm.
we rewash those and put them on the kitchen sink so they dry out and you reuse them. And my brother
Mhm.
and I are like, why? Like just use a new one. Just buy more if you have. And yes, you could go into consumer and saving in that way, but it's like no, like just do what's different or what
Mhm.
works best for your life. If saving a couple boxes because you have the space to keep a couple, great. But you don't have to keep all the boxes. It's balancing it, right?
That part. You don't have to keep them all.
Right. So, and Cassie, you're thinking about something like, what can we say to ourselves to let ourselves, like, because of all this loss, which the last episode was about grief and different forms of grief. And I think for me, it's coming to accept and acknowledge that it's not loss. Those things are things that we're releasing. And I think there's a difference when we can say that I release the need, keep all the boxes. I release the need to have presents absolutely all done and wrapped and shipped and mailed and under the tree before Christmas Eve. It's we're releasing those things and that it's not lost because those things, those people, those environments, those things that no longer may serve us served a purpose and served a point, and we deserve to have gratitude for that in some fashion rather than just saying it's lost. And I think that's part of the grieving, that it's not, again, we're not all or nothing with our thoughts anymore.
Mhm.
No, I like the bless you. I like the duality of thinking like that, like it's not loss, it's release. That was a good one. I like that.
It's not walls, it's
And
really
right, and just thinking about different things that can happen and how we've talked about the duality, and maybe that's something that we need to look at too. I mean, I know we've had our own private conversations about, well, this is how things are. And then one of us is like, well, what about this? And we're like, and it's sometimes I think you just need people in your life also to bring things up to you, be like, hey, you are doing your best. But sometimes I know I'm the worst is that my bar is right here, and then when I get right here, I raise it so that I'm farther away, and then I get close, and then I raise it. So I'm never
Mhm.
reaching whatever point I wanna get because I'm constantly getting it. I don't allow myself to do that, and so
Mhm.
having other people be like, "Hey, Cassie, look at how much you actually have done," or, like, the growth that I've done, because 'cause I'll be the first to also be hard on myself and just be like, "I'm not where I wanted to be a year into my real estate career," and there's nobody else to blame other than myself because I can't control anybody other than the actions I do, right? But on the flip side, on the duality side of that, is I have grown so much. I am at a point
Mhm.
where I have realized that I am not for everybody, and I'm fucking okay with that. And it has made me talking to people so much easier. Like, you want to reject me? Okay, have fun. If you would have asked me in January, February, March of last year, I would have just been crying. I would have been crumbling if somebody would have rejected me over me just trying to do my job. And now I'm like, not for you. Have a nice day. On to the next one. And so I like that you say that it's not loss, it's releasing, because I feel like this year I have purged the release of so many things.
Purging all my bags and boxes.
You know, you're saying bags and boxes, and I'm currently looking at my bags and boxes that I keep in my Christmas box because I was like,
Uh-huh.
what if I need them? I also want you to know that I've had these specific bags and boxes since I lived in Wyoming, and this is now my 4th Christmas in Utah.
Mhm.
I still have yet to use them. Like, even the other day, I was like, "Can I use these?" And I was like, "No, they're not fitting enough." So they went back in the tote. And I'm like, after this episode, I'm probably just gonna throw them away because it's been 4 years, Cassie, and I have yet to have and who knows how long I've actually had them prior to me moving. Because I had 15 boxes of Christmas before met Rick, and then as soon as I met him, and I met him in November, I was like, "Shit." I was like, "I know I'm gonna move for this man. I gotta get rid of my stuff." And so I had to purge it, but some whole reason I could get rid of 6 Christmas trees, but I
Uh-huh.
couldn't get rid of the freaking boxes, bags, and tissue paper. Fucking tissue paper.
I feel like there's a metaphor in here, like the universe is really trying hard to get us to pay attention because it's the same thing. Like, but I grew up watching my grandma literally snatch bags back. She would just cross out people's names. Like, she got to a point where she didn't even like take it out. She would just cross it out. It would say, Mandy, no, it's going to Mary now. And like, Mary had it. Now it's going to Cassie. Like, but that's what we did. I mean, and it got its use. Like, it did what it was supposed to do. It was the vessel. Like, it was a good bag. Thank you. But like, at a certain point, we got to let that go. And I feel like there are so many habits and things. Like, as you guys are talking, I'm trying to think about in my life. Like, I've done the things that I've done because it serves me. But like, is there a better, more appropriate fit for whatever it is at this point in my life? Is there a pivot? Was there a pivot moment? That would be a better fit for me. I was working with one of my coaching clients yesterday, and he's trying to figure out what the next step in life for him is in terms of career and university, and I heard a lot of should statements. Well, I should be doing this, and I have to do this. And it didn't feel like any of those were like his beliefs. It was just,
Mhm.
that's what I should be doing. That's what everyone else is doing,
The
or where
expectation.
the expectation. And, when we had a conversation about it, having to think about that, like, wait, are these actually mine? Like, do I believe this? Is this a value of mine? Or is it something that I have just carried for so long? I have carried it from 6 states. I moved from Wyoming to Utah, Missouri to Arizona, and I've had it. So like, I mean, it's fine. It's in the same place. It doesn't take up any space. It's not like it's there. It's fine. It's not causing any trouble, but Mm, if you reflect, if you look at it like it is, it's holding space. It's holding space physically. It's holding space like spiritually, mentally, otherwise. Like, if we let that go, if we release that, like, what could I allow in? What would recycle back to me? What would that bring? And nobody knows until you do it. Until you say fuck that bag and you go recycle it.
I think that's a good point, because what if we just are holding on to all of these things, and we'll just use life in general. Like, you're holding on to all these things because of whatever reason you have. But if you just release it to make room for something new, like, I know that it's out of the comfort zone and growth happens outside of your comfort zone, but I don't know. It's like, oh, but I really like this. I'm going to need this at one point or
Damn,
another.
it's so good. I need it.
Yeah, I'll just use, my last month is it's so funny I say this because sometimes I think it's a lie to myself, but I really don't like change. Like, the thought of change probably, because I do like change, but I think the thought of change I don't like. But
Mhm.
staying at my old brokerage, I was like, I've been here, I know everybody, it's comfortable. I can do what I need to do at this place. But I was like, something's calling me to go to this other brokerage. And finally, I was like, yep, let's go. And I know I've told you guys about like how everything has been going, and it's every day it's just been boom, this is why I came here. Boom, this is like all of these things have been happening just as reassurance. And it happened because even though I really, and I truly do, I am so grateful for everybody that was at my other brokerage because I wouldn't have learned what I've learned without them. But pivoting and going to this other place, everything feels so much better inside my heart and aligns more with what I need. And so I'm just glad that I allowed myself to move and make room for this. And now, I mean, my heart's exploding with so much gratitude. And I know that going into 2026 that it probably will be my best year yet because of the environment I decided to shift to and allow space for.
It's realizing that when we release something and let that go, saying that we no longer need to keep on to that is trusting ourselves and the abilities that we've grown from why we held on to it in the first place. And that it will, if it's truly something we were to need again, we would be able to identify that and utilize it again. So,
Mhm.
like that, Mandy, like it's easy to take it as to physical things rather than talking about it in life in general. So the example of Mandy with her boxes and things is like, so she got rid of all of them, learning that maybe then she still needed a couple. And so now going forward, learning like to keep on to a few rather than all meets her need where she's at. But she can't learn those things without taking those other steps. And
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what we're saying is that we're regulating your nervous system when you realize that you're holding on to stuff that doesn't really serve you a purpose anymore. Like to continue to revisit the past and the things that have happened and the things that have been lost and the changes and everything that like at some point that no longer serves you. But
Mm-hmm.
why do we keep doing it? Well, we keep doing it because it's comfortable. We keep doing it because it's familiar. We keep doing it because we think we haven't learned something enough. And so that's kind of where I think about with other, families and reusing the bags and crossing it out or using the Ziploc baggie until it is like molded and gross and a hole is in it. Like we don't need to use these things to death to
Mm-hmm.
get the purpose out of it. And it's no different than healing and allowing your nervous system. You can't actually let your nervous system regulate if you continue to beat all of the old stuff and try and learn more. There's must be more to like, no, at some point you have to say, I've learned what I've needed to learn. I've released it. I let that go now. I let that settle. And I'm going to make space and room to try and learn new things. And if something does happen to come up from like, you're going to know. You have to trust yourself.
Cassie, you talked about not liking change and you giggled because, all the drastic changes and everything that, we've talked about on this podcast. And I think I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for Mary. Like I also probably would identify myself as someone who doesn't like change. But in a coaching session this past week with one of my teenagers, we together identified like I like change. I get excited by change. It gives my brain the dopamine deposit it needs, but I like change that I'm in control of, meaning
Yeah.
I cut my hair off, dyed a completely different color. I, change up my fashion, the way I'm dressing, the way I show up physically in a space, the food I eat, the things that are in my control, the food I eat, the places I go, things like that. Having to move, right? If you're a teenager, moving out of state because parents have to move out of state, you have no control over that. I hate change. Change is bad. Change is not
Mhm.
good. Change means I lost all my friends, I lost my family, I lost my sense of normal. As adults, like I met this handsome man on TikTok. Fuck it. Let's go. I moved like, fuck Wyoming. I'm going over here to Utah. Let's go. Excitement because you made that decision and you got to sit in that. And I think that's that need for control we explore in all different like scenarios on this podcast is like that's where we feel safe a lot of the times. When we feel out of control is where we're dysregulated, is where that discomfort comes from. And that's where we're fighting for our life to be like, no, change can be good. I might not have control over this specific thing, but like, what do I have control over? How I show up, how I behave, how I respond. And again, it reaffirms like you have experiences. Change can be good because I've had this experience. I was listening/watching to something, and now I can't remember what it was or the general, but general consensus was a lot of things get labeled as traumatic, trauma, what have you. But that's if you choose to stay in it. Like, this bad thing happened to me. It is a traumatic experience. This trauma causes me pain because you live in it. But if you then decide to pivot and take ownership and change the narrative around that event, it's now an experience. You've had an experience, you learned from it, you learned you loved it, you hate it, whatever it is, and now you can move forward with that information. Now you've had an experience and you get to decide, like, if this was good or bad, if this is something I want to take and move forward, or if this is something I'm going to let define me. you you get that choice. And I think that's the hardest thing, I think, for any of us to hear, because a lot of times we feel like, no, I don't have a choice. I can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm guilty of it. I say it all the time. And then I have to take a deep breath and I have to figure out, where is my control in this? Or
Yeah.
how can I regulate myself with zero control?
No, I love that, and I love that you said that because I now want to reframe my mind to think of it like that, that I don't hate change. I just don't like things that I can't control, which, let's be honest,
Mhm.
that's most people in life, right? So that was a really cool reflection, that with you talking about something like that. And it made me think of something I learned with Rick off the get-go. And I was like, it's common sense. And Rick's like, it's never common sense, it's common knowledge, because
Mhm.
I can't expect somebody to know something if they've never experienced it, right? And so whenever something happens, I just instantly have Rick in the back of my head going, "It's common knowledge, Cassie." Like, Rick and I grew up in small towns. We we always joke and say that if the zombie apocalypse comes, we would be fine because we know how to hunt, fish, build shelters,
Mm-mm.
build a campfire from nothing.
Absolutely
Like,
not.
Rick and I would
Absolutely
be
not.
fine because that's how we grew up. Like, we know how to basically
I will
live.
be the first to go. I don't want to survive.
Well, come find me and you'll be fine. But again, see, like, that's the thing though, is that I know how to do all of that stuff because that's how I was brought up. Like, that's how both of us were brought up, and you were not. So why would it be common sense to you? It wouldn't be,
Exactly.
because you don't know. And so I think that's another thing. And I'm glad that you were talking about change and stuff. 'Cause I was like, what a reflection to be like, oh, I was like,
Mhm.
here's the thing. And then I was thinking
Yeah.
about Mary, and one of Mary's favorite quotes when she was talking that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I was like, man, I really want to adopt that one because I like Henry Ford's quote that says, whether you say you can or
Mhm.
you can't, you're right. One of my favorite quotes. But I was like, I also like the definition of insanity because it's true. If
Mhm.
I keep doing it and nothing's changing, but I'm expecting it to, it's like, hello, you're just going to cause your brain to be more anxious and create scenarios. At least that's what my brain does, is I create scenarios that haven't even happened yet because I'm just so in a tizzy. It's like, take a step back, maybe we need to pivot, which again I feel like is a very, between duality and pivot, I feel like those are the words of the go be too much, is there's two sides to everything, and can we pivot to go to said other side? So
As you were talking, clearly it's just like none of it is about the apocalypse, and like that Mandy has no idea you grew up in small town. I was
I
like, I grew up in a small
refuse.
town.
I
But in my
refuse.
head, I'm like, I've had these conversations with my brother who currently temporarily lives with me, and we watch enough shows that we've like compiled and problem solved like
See,
preemptive attack plan.
I don't want to. Like, you guys are like, "Yes, let's survive." And I'm like, "Fuck that." Like, I've seen it. I've seen how to survive. I want no part of it. I will volunteer myself as tribute so I don't have to fucking survive. I don't want to do it. That's no. No.
I've survived enough. I've done
I
enough.
need
To
I need a
which
fucking sound machine, a weighted blanket, and 3 pillows specifically aligned on my back, and I gotta, like, the temperature has to be 68.5 degrees for me to sleep. What the fuck about me says I'm gonna survive in that situation? Absolutely not.
makes me only think like of this whole year and of the snake and of shedding and where we all are at right now today in this very moment is like we have lived and done so much and we're only just beginning in our 30s. And I think about our grandparents and when they get to their old age and I'm like, but that's all I hear Mandy saying is like, I've lived enough. I'm done enough.
Guys,
Like just take me.
I literally said that in a retirement meeting with the professional man that came in to talk to us about saving money. And I said, sir, with all due respect, I don't want to live that long. I said, I don't want to make it to that point. So I want to spend my money. I'm going to spend my money now. And I know that's controversial, but like, I do not want to
You
live
can't take it with
to that
you, so
point.
why not?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, I
Correct.
agree with it. That's why Rick and I are always doing experiences. Like we're always traveling and going places.
Mhm.
And Mandy, when you were talking about the 3 pillows, Rick and I are talking about a trip that we want to take next year. And one of the ideas was going to Costa Rica and riding dirt bikes for like 10 days or something across the island. And it gives you 3 levels of experience. You can have the I live there experience, you can have the comfort experience, or you can have the luxury experience. And Rick and I are like, fuck, we'll sleep on the floor, like whatever you give us. We'll use a rock as a pillow. Like, and Rick has done that. He slept in the desert with a rock as a pillow. I've slept on like again. And so I'm like listening to you and I was like, man, you and I going camping together does not sound like a good idea.
I'm never going to
No,
camp.
no,
Don't ever
you would
invite
do
me.
You'll be
glamping. We
she'll
enjoy
glamp.
glamping.
She'll be
God.
glamping, and I'll be wearing 3-day-old pants that have fish guts on them.
Oh God, no, no. I need 3 showers a day. I'm so high maintenance in that capacity. You said go camping. I'm like, I would never go camping. I love you, but I draw the line. I draw the fucking line if I have to shit in a hole or sleep on a rock or I'm not built
You
for
don't
that.
want to go on
Okay.
my adventures where we go
I would love to like supervise your
So
adventures
I
from
will take the
somewhere.
pictures and you can live vicariously through my
yes.
videos and my pictures.
Yes, that's great. Those are the experiences that I love because they're not outdoors. My God. Yes. Squirrel.
We just rabbit holed. We're
Sorry.
like,
Sorry about that. But I'm like, if
oh,
you want to tie that back in, I mean, I think again, those experiences that we've all had, I'm like, it ain't for me. I am not the one. Like, I have a lot of problem solving and I can handle a lot of crisis. But the zombie apocalypse, like, I swear to God, I had this conversation with somebody every so often, and I am like, I will be the first to go. I'm not going to trade like
It's run out
I'm not going to
into it.
trade bullets for ibuprofen. The second I don't have a Dr. Pepper, like it's over. It's over. And I know that about myself. So I'm not going to weigh any of you down. I'm not going to do that to you.
What's funny you
absolutely love
saying
this.
that is like, yeah, I'm really good in a crisis and things like that too, just the same as you. But I'm like, I'm over this. Like, let's have it be the end of the world crisis. Like, I'm like, let's just say fuck it already and have it happen.
Reset.
Get the damn thing done.
Yes. Get the damn thing done.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. It just reminds me of like how the 3 of us are so different yet so aligned on so many different things and how we just bring different pieces of life to this podcast and how we just squirrel the shit out of things because we're like, oh, this is where we went and we got to pivot back. We got to get back. Oh, but then it's like the game. What is that game like Candyland? Oh, went down the slide. Go back 30 spaces.
Fuck yes. Yes. Well,
There's a
Well,
millennial
you
joke
know,
for you.
I was like, yeah, dang. Do the youth still play that one? Is that still relevant?
I don't even know if they know what that is, but it's a
No. They're all too busy aura farming.
god.
Anywho's is I feel like because this one will be airing the week of New Year's, that's a good pivot. That's a good moment of reflection. I think what was it last episode? Was it 12? So we've been doing this weekly for 3 months officially.
yeah,
October, November, December.
Yeah.
We did the last quarter of 2025. We decided full send into a podcast, and 2 of us pivoted careers more than once. The other one of us decided to move into a brand new house and navigate all of the things that came with that. And we're like, you know what? Yeah, let's fucking record a podcast every week. Let's do that. Let's put ourselves to that test. And I have had to learn more about social media than I ever wanted to. And it's ever growing, ever changing. I still feel like I know absolutely nothing, but like coaching my principal at work, how to social media and how to be on social media and watching him, he's not listening. I was like watching him be so uncomfortable talking about recording himself. And he like just doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want to be the face of anything. I'm like, you're literally the face of the school and nobody knows who you are. Thinking about me, I'm like, I do not want my face on the internet. I don't want to be perceived. I don't want to be seen. And now I'm just like full send, record, send. we're not even gonna run that one back. We're not even gonna edit that one. We're just gonna put it out there because
Why
what?
not?
What like for why not? Why not? Because I've been reflecting and I made like 10 real life adult friends off of the internet this year. And like I have met them out in the wild. We have gone to do things. Like there's been so many good things that have come from putting my face out there and yapping and not stopping and not stop talking because I just show up in spaces and I just start talking and then things start connecting. And then, I'm ending up at K-pop dance classes or, driving to the middle of nowhere for a silly little experience, planning trips out of the country with somebody I've known for 6 months. Like it's wild. It's wild what happens when you just like get
Get out of your
uncomfortable
own way.
and
Well, that's
sit,
sort of
yeah,
like
get in your
when
own way.
when you release all the things you thought were keeping you safe and keeping you in the trajectory you wanted, when really you released those things and you allowed yourself to go in flow of what things started to light you up and
Mhm.
experience and feel great. And like by doing that, now you're on this new trajectory, and it may be scary as hell because you don't know where it's going, you don't know what all
Mhm.
it's going to ask of you, but I think, that's the whole point of this
That's the
topic
whole
today,
point.
is that you're releasing that, and that you might be losing something. You might be letting something finally go to rest. You might be walking into a whole new identity and you don't even know what that identity starts with. But instead of looking at it as a loss, we're looking at it as what are we to gain? And instead of asking yourself of all the things that could go wrong, that you need to hang on to all those boxes and bags because you need to be prepared for all the what ifs to go wrong, release that and say to yourself, what if it all goes right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the
So,
part that none of us ever think about. We
no,
if we force ourselves to, if we're like intentional, but that's not the default. The default is never like, what if everything
no,
goes right? What if everything is fucking awesome? What if it all
right.
works out?
Show me how good it can get.
Yes, right. But I think that it takes getting there. This isn't, again, we're talking about this and we're all very much in the presence of really embodying this, but we didn't all get here in the last year. I mean,
Mhm.
this last year really pushed
Bolted.
and propelled us, but before that, like we've been working on all this stuff, you could say, our whole lives, and that's why we're either ready to just surrender in the apocalypse or buckle up.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think that that sets us at a good point because in our next episode, we're going to talk about the next part of this is after you release, like, how can you learn to be okay with these things and get the life that you're wanting to get to? So, with that, I appreciate everybody that has been listening to us. We're ending the year with a bang. We can't wait for you to be with us in 2026 and have a beautiful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.